Greetings to all the students. I welcome you all on the YouTube platform of Next IS, and you are watching Daily News Analysis, an initiative where we discuss important articles published in the newspapers and the PIB. With the help of today's video, the topic that we are going to discuss will be Trade, Energy, AI, a case of India-Canada relationship, Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences, third, counting calories in a brief history, fourth, PM Gati Shakti policy, and fifth, India's path of self-reliance and growth, the statement of Prime Minister Modi. So now let's start with the very first topic of today's DNA, visible over the screen, that trade, energy, AI, India, Canada take series of steps to restore ties. Now this point is restore, right? Now to understand this restoration, a little bit of historical perspective that we need to understand. In 1974, India shocked the world by detonating a nuclear device and getting outrage from the Canada, which accused at that moment to India of extracting plutonium from the Canadian reactor, nuclear reactor, that was a gift to the Indian government given for the peaceful purpose. Having this kind of understanding in 1974, the Canadian government decided to withdraw its support from the India's nuclear program. Even at that moment, my dear friends, the relationship between both the countries went on. Especially now I jump to the 2024 when the Canadian police again accused the Indian agents of homicide, extortion and violence act on their soil. Why? After the killing of pro-Khalistani leader Nijjar. And at that moment, India government said that this is nothing but a preposterous claims. And the relationship went on in a very bad mood when both the nations expelled their diplomats from both the countries. But again, as the geopolitics went on, after the incarnation of Trump as the president, when he tried to impose tariffs upon both the countries and tried to change the global economic world order, both the countries now at the moment trying to ice the severe relationship between the two. And that is why we are witnessing that the Canada's foreign minister Anita Anand is in Delhi to restore the ties. So this is the exact backdrop and the context of this article. Now, although India-Canada relationship is a very domain and the comprehensive part, but we'll limit ourselves with trade, energy and AI part only. Now, with the very first part, this is strategic issue, trade and the investment. We know that the merchandise trade between the India and the Canada grew between 16% between 2015 to 2014. And the import from India rose around 103, while Canadian export increased to 23%, right? Plus, the service trade grew sharply to a six-fold increase, that is from 2.6 billion to 17.3 billion in 2023. That means Canadian services export, that mainly the travel, the education, the medicine aspect, and the students out there in the Canada, that surged around 976%. That service imports rose 151%. So that means there has been a huge manifold increase in the mercantile trade and the service trade between the two nations. Now, in the backdrop of it, we need to understand that with every strategic issue, we'll understand why Canada wants it and why India wants it. So now with this strategic trend, we need to understand that why Canada's priorities are, why do they need India? The first thing is that Canada needs to secure the long-term partnership in its largest export sectors for, say, energy, automotive, aerospace, services, agriculture, food, forestry, etc. And the India's market has the potential that it can offbeat the China part. Plus, it with high demand of energy, where India is the second energy hunger country at the world at this moment, and there are certain assumptions that by 2035 India will be the highest energy hunger country in the world. Plus, India even needs critical minerals, agriculture, forestry, technological investment to become a developed nation by 2047, right? So both the countries need each other. Now, from the side of India's commitment, why India need to restore the ties? First is that I told you India aims to become a developed country by 2047. That means even budget 2024-25, budget 2023-24, the government of India has been, reinstatedly focusing on priority sectors like infrastructure, clean energy, pharmaceuticals, agri-food, digital fintech, agriculture, automotive, electric vehicles, etc. And moreover, India at this moment needs diversification of the partners as well. In what manner? Especially after the try of change in the geo-economic world order by the Trump by the use of tariff as a tool. India has started diversification of the the partners. Plus, the China's dominance is there. China is definitely not the trustworthy partner for the India. And India even need to diversify trade with these two regions, the China issue and the US issue. That means third is Russian factor. The Ukraine-Russia war is going on, right? And again, there has been huge pressure from the side of the USA upon the India not to import oil from the Russia. So the triangle was being limited, and India found itself in a very difficult position, right? Additional tariff was specially put on the India because it was importing oil from the Russia. So India was on the double mark, right? So that means India has this Russian factor in its part as well. And this is the only reason that Indian diplomats has been widening its reach to the different countries worldwide. First, they are going to Japan, to the Malaysia, to the Brazil, Vietnam, and to different countries just to diversification. So in this manner, we know that both the countries need each other. Now the second issue, the artificial intelligence and the emerging technologies. Right now, from the side of Canada, Canada positioned itself as a leader through research hub in the Montreal, Toronto, and the other cities of the Canada. That supported by Pan-Canadian AI strategy, which is the world's first national AI strategy. Second, it hosts 10% of the world's top tier AI research, which is the second highest in the globally, and leads the G7 in AI research publication per capita. There was a series that around 1 lakh, more than 1,40,000 professionals was expertise in AI from the Canada, and Canada needs to leverage that power, right? Third, applied innovation. For say, a scale AI cluster promotes AI adoption in healthcare, logistics, in the sustainability manner, in manner of greener manufacturing, the IP strategies, the workforce segmentation. So many things are there where the AI power can be harnessed. Plus, responsible AI leadership. How? Canada co-founded the Global Partnership on AI. Now, this is very specifically important for your prelims exam as well. It is founded in 2020 just to grip the the gap between the theories and the practice by fostering cutting edge technologies, right? It was even decided one other part that India is one of the founding member as well. Other founding members of USA, UK, other parts. Now, this GPAI was co-founded by the Canada. That means it again needs to put it up, the Artificial Intelligence and the Data Act, right? Developed as a voluntary code of conduct from the generative AI. It even ranked 1 in the AI and the Democratic Value Index, right? So that means Canada trying to show to the world that I may be a responsible AI generator, developer, and the supporter as well, right? The government focus. There has been an appointment of Ministry of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation in the month of May 2025, which highlights that AI as an economic and security priority, focusing on digital transformation first, domestic data infrastructure, and the responsible legislature. The point that I just conveyed, right? So this is the exact backdrop, the major backdrop. Others are for say India's landscape. India has the AI mission in the budget, which allocated 10,300 crores. That means India has started for the AI part as well, right? And AI platforms is being even built for say Sarvam One Bus there, Avatar AI there. India even launched the India AI data set platforms and the excellence centers across the India. Plus, India's future skill initiative expand AI education from undergraduate to PhD level, establishes fellowship and new AI tablet in Tier 2, 3 cities. India accounts for 16% of the global AI workforce and rank worst in the AI skill penetration. Although rank 1, but we need to understand that to compare the countries like China and the USA, the patent linked with the AI, the R&D linked with the GDP, right? The work, the percent of the scientists that they are getting into the AI, all those things are so low compared to countries like China and the India. For example, the patent that has been registered from the side of the USA was around 13,000 compared to the country like China, which is around 11,000. But India by 2024 only had around 300 something patents for the AI, right? This shows a startling gap between the nations, and India needs to harness that part from the help of the Canada. Now, third, critical minerals and the energy security. We know that India is an energy hunger country, right? And Canada has the energy as well, critical minerals. And one very important thing, China has been trying to maintain a better supply chain with link to the critical minerals. But the world, especially after the COVID-19, got to know that we cannot trust the China. Especially the other countries even trying to diversify and to trying to make different level of supply chain linked with the critical minerals. Now, this is the reason that China needs to work with India for the the critical minerals. And why India? Because India is energy hunger country. So India needs to have critical minerals rather than seeking from the China. Canada will be more supportive and sustainable in its near future. Why? Because with Canada, we do not have any regional imbalance. With Canada, we do not have any water dispute or other things associated, right? Now, in this context, we'll understand the Canadian landscape again. So, the critical mineral strategy that was launched in 2022 to expand domestic production, attract the investment, and to build a global secure supply chain, right? It even alignment with the G7. India's role, India endorsed G7 critical mineral plans in 2025, which paving the way for the deeper cooperation or bilateral multinational cooperation in trade, research and technology, especially with the critical minerals, right? 34 Canadian minerals, 22 matches India's priority list. Again, very important for India to have relationship with the Canada. Example, lithium, graphite, nickel, cobalt, core, earth core provide strong ground for the cooperation. And India is trying to become a global leader in the mobile manufacturing as well. So perhaps we need these critical minerals in near future, right? Current trade gap. This is the very great sentence. Canada's export to India are minimal. Only 2% of the total critical minerals export. Potash, the larger export, fell to Canadian dollar 402 minerals. Other export like aluminium, copper or other things for say non-allowed equal has even come down. So again Canada needs to build it up. Investment pattern, Australia dominates Canada's Indo-Pacific critical minerals investment, 85% of the inward FDI, which India needs to plan big, right? Energy security, the completion of Trans Mountain expansion pipeline in 2004 expanded oil export capacity. LNG shipment to the South Korea signals Canada as a growing global energy supplier, a message to the India. Potential future LNG export to India as well has been conveyed between the two ministers. Now, Canada even aligns with India's national green hydrogen mission. Now, the India's landscape. We know that India has a target to become zero or net zero carbon by 270, right? That means India need to become or have a hydrogen clean energy, for which we need Canada, right? Second, energy transition challenges. I told you that intermittence, grid stability issues from solar, wind require investment in energy storage, flexible grids, etc., where Canada can contribute technology and expertise to India. Third, essential for the batteries, solar panels, turbines, defense, aerospace, semiconductors, the critical mineral spot. Diversification, China we already have discussed. Now, national critical mineral plans. India in Jan 2024 focuses on full value chain from exploration to processing and recycling. For that matter, we have national critical mineral plans associated. And to all those things, India need partners, and that is why diversification is taking place. And this is all those reasons that the two ministers has been on the sidelines. Now, this is again very specific understanding, not linked with any of the analytic understanding. The Five Eyes Alliance. The Five Eyes Alliance is actually a core intelligence sharing network. The member countries are there. It is actually both survive, the intelligence sharing gatherer and the single intelligence as well. Member countries are USA, UK, EU, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Right? So this is the Five Eyes Alliance structure. Just focus on that for the prelims part. Now, this is the practice question visible over your screen. Do practices. Let us know the answer in the comment section. This is another level of practice question. So practices and let us know the answer in the comment section. Now let's start with the second topic visible over your screen, which is the Nobel Prize in the Economic Sciences 2025. Mocher, Engen and Howitt win the Nobel Economic Prizes for their theories. Now the point is what the key contribution what the theories are. Now the Joel Mocher said that they actually are talking about the rapid development of the macroeconomic stability, right? Both the theories given by these two people, one was given by this Mocher, second was given by the Esther Howitt, are correlated to each other. How they are correlated to each other? Let's figure it out. How? First, the Mocher's research dwells into a historical roots of technological advancement and their impact of economic growth. He emphasized that the Industrial Revolution was not merely a result of technological inventions, but also an outcome of cultural shift that valued knowledge and innovation. Now we need to understand what is the exact meaning of this point. Now understand, the Mocher said that for this point, the outcome of culture shift that valued innovation, he named is creative destruction. He named it creative destruction. The Mocher said that before the Enlightenment, that means before the 15th and the 16th century, although there were some innovations, but the people was having into the vagaries that they do not know what they are producing, why they are producing. Two words that he created at that moment. First, the word was the prescriptive knowledge. The prescriptive knowledge. It shows that how things worked. The second term that he coined was propositional knowledge. That means the people before the Enlightenment do not have the capacity to understand that why things work. That why things worked. Now, Mocher's this historical perspective of innovation of the Mocher's can be aligned with three things. The first, prescriptive knowledge, that before the Enlightenment, people were the innovation was there, people were innovating, but they only have the prescriptive knowledge, that means how things work. But we do not have the analytical understanding, which is called propositional knowledge, that why things work, right? For example, steam, or I would say you know the steam engine, right? Steam engine was there, but why it worked? After the steel production, after the knowledge of the atmospheric pressure and the densities, the things went on. So innovation was there, but how it was accepted? It was accepted after the cultural shift that valued knowledge and innovation. That means from the perspective of society, and that he coined the word creative destruction. That means the society's openness to change. Society's openness to change. Joel Mocher said that until and unless this creative destruction, that means society's acceptance to accept something, to make a change, to accept the change will not take place, the economic growth will not take place. Now, for this thing, he gave one chart as well. With this help of this chart, we can understand this thing. For say, the fast economic growth of this kind has not been only absent for most of the human history. The norm has been economic stagnation that stagnation happened despite technological advancement. That means pre-enlightenment level, right? This is the chart. Now the word creative destruction that we have, that this is more about the societal acceptance to the change. Now this thing, although may go down definitely against the individual company, but this ancient and Hewitt Lotter with respect to this Peter Howitt with respect to their endogenous growth theory laid the foundation, that this creative destruction laid the foundation for the economic stability at the world level. How? Understand. They developed this endogenous growth theory, which posed the economic growth is primarily the result of internal factors rather than the external influence. This model focuses on the role of technological innovations driven by firm-first R&D, propelling economic growth. Right? They argue that the policies encouraging competition and innovation can lead to sustained economic growth. But the point is, how? Now understand. For say, we know that just for a brief understanding, we can start that imagine an economy where the rules are such that whenever you innovate something, you'll have a patent. Right? Very simple part. So now, once you have a patent, right, that means you may create a monopoly. The monopoly that creates the profit for the one who has the patent, and that can be useful for the production cost, which was there in producing the particular patent. Very simple part. Now, the second, he said that we may quote this thing, that he said that although the patent protects the company from the competition, but even other hand, it does not support or it does not protect the company from the other people's innovative ideas which can be patented further. Right? That means this new patentable ideas can be a fruitful for the other companies or other people to break down the monopoly. Right? That means this useful knowledge can be created for the societies. Right? Now, this exact understanding of this creation of this economy, right? Creation of this economy, that means we can say patentable economy. Now, these things are very clear. First, the patent, monopoly is being created. It's stopping the company from the competition, but not from the other people's mind, which drives for the patentable economy to take place. Now, the part he said that once this patentable economy is there, now the point is the money that is there for the R&D companies to use in this patentable economy are coming from the household consumption part. And the household consumption's money is being definitely dependent upon the interest rate of the country, and the interest rate of the country is definitely dependent upon the overall economic growth of the particular country. That is why he said that whenever you are going to have this household saving, perhaps this household savings, therefore this flexibility, production, R&D, he said with this endogenous growth theory that they cannot be linked in a isolation, but rather in a very stagnant, comprehensive manner. Only then you may understand that how the economic stability is taking place. So morally focused, these two people are talking more about the integration of different parts and the acceptance to the change to the society as well. This is the exact part that this growth theory has been talking about. Now, the significance of their work. First, they understand the growth dynamics. That means the collective research provides a comprehensive understanding of the mechanisms behind sustained economic growth, moving beyond traditional factors like capital accumulation and the labor force expansion. Second, policy implications. The insight from their work about the importance of fostering an environment that encourage innovation, competition, and the investment in the R&D. This is the exact thing that the government of India nowadays is trying to pursue. Right? We can correlate both the things. Third, the global relevance. Their theories are applicable across different economies, offering guidance on how nations can achieve and maintain economic growth through innovations. So, more about these theories are in a comprehensive nature. Right? That means they are taking that while driving for the economic growth, we must not have these factors at the isolation level, but rather in a very comprehensive manner to have this economic growth as well, right? Now, this is a practice question visible over your screen. Do practice it. Now, let's start with the third topic visible over your screen, which is the counting calories, a brief history. Topic is mainly focus on how the very fact or very act of eating changed forever, which is being governed now by the arithmetic, right? So, first that we need to understand what is counting calorie means. It is a method of tracking the energy taken in via food, that means calories. Before that as well, two things that to understand, that this counting calorie, or I would say it rests on the principle of energy balance equation. What is this energy balance equation? It says that the change in the body energy, right, is equal to energy intake minus energy expenditure. That means if you assume more energy, right, then you burn, you will get the weight. If you have low energy, compared to the part you consume less, you will have the loss weight. It's very simple part. Now, this is actually calorie is a French word, right? And after the experiment of one very famous USA scientist named Otto system, or I would say Otto experiment. What Otto did? Otto tried to have an experiment with certain people, have in a particular place, they are working, they are eating, they are sleeping. And based on the pattern of the oxygen produced and the carbon dioxide reduced, they exactly the Otto system, that means the Otto, the Otto and the colleagues created one tables assigning energy values to macronutrients, and this has laid the foundation from the today's modern part. This is just a historical aspect. Now, the strength and using of calorie counting, but before that we need to understand one thing, that why calorie counting is so much necessary for India. We will have this understanding as well with this topic, right? Now, strength quantitative feedback, it provides a measurable feedback of how much energy one is consuming and using, which can definitely guide certain adjustment, right? Portion awareness, it encourages awareness for the portion size and hidden calorific density in the food, for say the soils, the oils, the sauces. Helps approximate one's maintenance calories, the amount needed to gather either the gain the weight or lose the weight. Plus, in hospital and dietetic context, calorie targets are still used, right? This is more about the patient's health, calorie targets, right? And how the patient's health issue linked with the calorie target took place after the Otto systems experiment. Now, calorie counting in India. But before we talk about calorie counting in India, we need to understand that calorie counting in itself has certain challenges. For say, the first and the foremost challenge that comes to our mind is that is a calorie consumption part. The calorie consumption part. That means the thermic effect, right? The thermic effect, energy, the thermic effect क्या होता है? The energy consumption or the energy cost of digestion, right? The thermic effect, right? Second, we may say that the absorption, the hormonal effects, they are definitely varies from person to person. That means health wise this calorie consumption cannot be one standard procedure. The very first part that they discussed, not discussed, but this is the very greater challenge. The second challenge that comes to our mind is that not all energy in food is absorbed equally. That means there is a variation in the this absorption and the variability and the acceptability as well, right? हम इसको बोल सकते हैं that bioavailability, there is a variation in bioavailability, right? So these are those certain challenges that are still there when we are having calorie as a health aspect. But now the picture of India, you remember that for the poverty estimation, nowadays we have this this calorie intake as a parameter. So this calorie intake trends in India 2023-24, the average per capita daily calorie intake in rural India was 2212 kilocalorie, while urban India has a slighter higher for 2240 kilocalorie. Historical trends, there has been a calorie intake declined, which shows a consistent downward trend in India. Now these things are very important for your prelims examination, right? Economic disparities as well. Data from 2012 shows that the top 5% of the income earners consume 2600 calories per day, while the bottom 5 had the intake of 1600 kilocalorie per day, a significant disparity as well. Now the nutrition deficiency and the public health concerns in India. Protein deficiency, over 60% of the Indian consume less than the recommended protein level, leading to a widespread protein and energy malnutrition. This is especially, we may link that there is a data that around 9,20,000 children in India are with the people with the stunted malnutrition, right? That means the food availability, the food access, or the nutrition food availability to the to the children is not up to the mark. Second, micronutrient deficiency, high deficiency rates observed in children of the zinc, particularly in Karnataka and this Tamil Nadu, right? Anemia, yes, this anemia is one of the very severe aspect with respect to this micronutrient, right? 67% in India children, 57% of the women as well, which is indicating significant iron deficiency. And this iron deficiency is one of the very major cause for the children's upbringing, and which led to further the poverty part, the unemployment part, and the further nature the nation's growth as well in near future. So this is this particular path, and that is why this is so much of concern. And again, if we correlate this thing, all those this nutritional data with just the economic theory that we had, that it is more about the comprehensive nature when we determine the economic growth of a country rather than going at the individual the level. So society's change will only take place when they are able to get into the, or we are able to get in the position that they can accept the change, right? That is why this is so important for the pertinent part. But the government of India has been consistently trying to mitigate this gap of the the nutrition detriment in India. For the midday meal scheme is there, which aims to provide nutrition meals to school children, addressing both calorie and the protein deficiency. PDS is there well, where the ensures food security by distributing subsidized food grains, right? Although there is a need to diversify the different food packets that we are going with the help of the PDS, right? But at this moment, Government of India is pursuing with this thing. Now, there is a practice question visible over your screen. Do practices and let us know the answer in the comment section. Now, the fourth topic, which is PM Gati Shakti scheme. PM Gati Shakti scheme, to have India $5 trillion economic market and to get India into a developed state by the 2047. The government of India in perhaps 2022-23 budget introduced this Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti initiative. This is mostly started for the infrastructure ability. Now, at this moment, the government of India is trying to make certain changes, or the expansion of PM Gati Shakti is still taking place. That is why again this topic is so important. PM Gati Shakti is a backbone of India for economic infrastructure transformation under Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. It aims to integrate multimodal transport system and reduce the logistic cost to make India globally competitive. And before we jump into it, we need to understand the government of India has taken a very major improvement part with respect to the costing development. For say the average turnaround time, at this moment in India is hardly 0.9. compared to the global average of 1.97 and to the very developed country like USA where it is around 1.3. 1.3 countries like Singapore where it is around 1.24 or 1 point something. So India has gained advantage. Now the advantage is being pushed because of the schemes like Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti scheme. Now the government is trying to interlink Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti scheme with these kind of initiatives to make it more better blue economy. This is the context of the this particular topic. Now a little bit understanding. It was launched in 2021. Objective was to integrate infrastructure development and seamless logistics connectivity through data-driven planning. Goal was to achieve faster movement of goods and people, supporting India's 5 trillion economy vision. The point I told you that the average turnaround time has been gone down by 0.9, much better than the developed country like USA and Singapore. Right? There are 6 pillars for say comprehensiveness, prioritization, optimization, synchronization, analytical, the dynamic parts. These are the parts of Gati Shakti master plan. Now the features. It focuses majorly on the 7 pillars. Pillars are roads, railways, airports, ports, mass transport, waterways and the logistics. It enables the coordination among 44 central ministries and 36 state UTs with over 1600 data layers for the integrated planning. Right? It linked with the Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti state master plan across all the states. So the government is trying to make it better cohesion between the state and the center so that we can harness the potential of the ports, we can harness the potential of the different the roads, the transport infrastructure and the different thing associated. Now the targets under Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti scheme. The national highway target is spent by 2 lakh kilometer. Aviation developed 200 new ports, helicopter, water, parts. Railways increased the rail cargo capacity to 1600 million tons. Ports cargo capacity to 1750 million metric tons. Waterways, it goes for boost cargo movement to 95 million metric tons. Ganga cargo raises the movement from 9 to 29 million metric tons. So for the power infrastructure and the renewables, where the renewables target is around 2 to 5 gigawatt capacity with 17,000 kilometers of the gas pipelines. Significance. First significance simple, that it reduces the logistics cost and maintain the smoothest the supply chain, right, which is there, right. Enhances India's ease of doing business and the export competitiveness. Simple. Promotes multimodal connectivity across economic zones and it reduces the duplication and the delays that were there earlier as well, right, because the seamless connectivity is there. Plus it accelerates India's progress towards a Viksit Bharat 2047 through integrated sustainable infrastructure method in India. Now the today's recorded topic visible over the screen. Visible. The developed world is building walls. India's answer lies in scale, skill and self-reliance. 3 words are there: scale, skill and self-reliance. The basic objective of this article is, or I would say can be started with the metaphor that imagine the period of Ramayana where Lord Hanumanji was sitting on the edge of a cliff, not known or unsure of his strength. Lord Jamvanji came and make him assure that you are the person with the strength. And that ultimately led to the development of the things taken place in Ramayana. Now again need to understand or need to have this link with the India. India has been silent, was trying to work with the Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam aspect. But protectionism, visa restrictions, the inward policy from the side of the developed countries now make possible that the India can, with the skill and self-reliance, can become a symbolic for India's self-belief and potential. The potential to become the factory of the world, the potential to become the workforce of the world, the potential to make sure that India can become a builder, innovator and actor. Now the point is, why are we talking like this, that India can become a builder, innovator and the actor in near future? Now we need to understand this thing. Now let's jump. Why this, the global backdrop, the point I just raised, because we know that is the US imposing 1 lakh fee on new H1 visa petitions. 100% tariff was put again the patented pharmaceuticals exporting from the India to the USA, right? So all those things reflect that there is a deeper global trend of demographic anxiety and inward looking economic nationalism. Why this demographic anxiety and inward looking economic nationalism? We can understand this thing in further, but for brief. For the demographic anxiety, India at this moment, right, has around 64% of the working population. In India only, not for the world, but the entire population of India, 64% is of the working age population. The median age in India is only around 29 compared to the country like China where 41 median age, right? So that means India has the future with respect to the skilled workforce or the workforce. Second, inward looking economic nationalism. We know that there has been a surge of remittance in India, especially they are coming from the side of USA. So we can understand the why there has been so much of this protectionism is being visible in the views of the USA nowadays. Now let's look deeper that India's advantage for the future. First part, demographic. The point I just say that the mean age in India is only 29 and the 2/3 are under 35 years of age only. That means that constantly sharpening with this aging population in many developed countries, including the China, where the median age is 41, right? 40. Now, growth contribution. India is credited with the contribution of over 16% of global growth last year. It is a figure that reinstates India's engagement at the world level, at the global level, that India can become or already becoming an economic engine of the world economy. Very more other economic indicators that we can understand just to make sure that India is going to become a economic engine. First, the Reserve Bank of India growth revised 6.8%, right? Again, the highest part. The GST collection in India only 1.8 lakh crore was there. In the budget itself, you will mesmerized to understand that the rupee comes majorly. The second level was the income tax and the third was the GST. So the inward core of the India's economy, all because of this domestic demand, the consumption pattern, the income earning capacity of the people, and the tax aspect of the people as well. It is booming for the Indian economy as a growth, and ultimately it will be reflected in the interest rate. So it will become a cycle that the economy, robust economy of India will become sustainable in near future. Right? Why or for say that the remittance in June quarter was 33.2 billion, higher than the previous year. And I told you again, the economic survey says that it is majorly coming from the country like USA this year, right? Manufacturing and services PMI are robust, 57, 69, 60, 60.9 respectively. During Dussehra, the retail e-commerce sales crossed 3.7 lakh crore, which was 15% higher than the last year, with the online platform crossing around 90,000 crores. That means a robust and the more pragmatic the consumption pattern, the internal consumption pattern that we can witness in India, right? Moreover, we can correlate these things with the certain more examples. For say, we know if we go deeply into this part, right, for the macroeconomic indicators, the mode, we know the example of the UPI. UPI is being now used, widely compared to the initiatives like USA visa. तो यूपीआई वीजा से ज्यादा इस्तेमाल होता है और ये सरकार ये डेटा पूरा भारत सरकार देती है बैठ के. इसके अलावा भी अगर हम if we go mood as well for say the export of goods and services, right, this crossed the mark of 825 billion this year. 825 billion this year. The renewable energy capacity in India has crossed 200 gigawatt capacity. So that means all those macro specific trends foretells that India has a huge future with respect to the economy, and that is why we may say that India is already becoming an economic engine for say. Now the three pillars that has been talked regarding the India: skill and self-reliance, the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which has been widely claimed and I would say that conveyed by our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi ji. Now, scale. This article says that India's size in itself is an asset. Large domestic market, mass innovation potential, ability to fix the cost that pursue investment in the infrastructure at scale. So many of the schemes that has been there by the government of India size. This budget is still the funds 10,000 crores of the funds has been introduced in the budget. There was a budget of 25, the newest scheme of 25,000 crores for the coastal development that has been initiated. Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti schemes that has been there. Government is trying to synchronize all the different infrastructure projects into the one. That means the government of India's focus is for streamlining the activities. That means economic scale will be higher in India, right? Skill. Government has been consistently trying to have a very skill development initiative in India. Just to make sure, India के बारे में पहले लगातार बात बोली जाती थी that आज भी है the major concern that although India has the workforce but not the skilled workforce, especially in the context when we have the features like AI, machine learning, the deep learning, etc. India's lack of skilled workforce will be a challenge for the Indian economy in the near future. But there has been many initiatives from the side of for the skill development enhancement from the side of government of India. For say, Skill India Mission, Pradhan Mantri Kausal Vikas Yojana, National Entrepreneurship Promotion Schemes, right? Jan Shikshan Sansthan. There has been there which has been governed by the government with the help of the states to make a better collaborative federalism which will be fruitful for the Indian workforce in near future. And I distinctly remember when our ex economic advisor, he mentioned that in India there are certain specific states like Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, combining states like Maharashtra. They are much, they can be harnessed if their full potential is being used. That means more than the EU nations, right? So that onwards we know that the government of India's focus has been moved towards the competitive federalism as well. That means the state can harness themselves and become a part of the growth engine of the Indian economy, right? So this is that skill part. Now, third, self-reliance. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Why Atmanirbhar Bharat? Self-reliance, first of all, does not mean isolation. Rather, it means India having an internal strength to engage globally for position of a strength that make in India for the world. And this has been a slogan that our Prime Minister has been given from the Red Fort, right from 2014-15. We have Make in India for that, right? We have Anusandhan National Research Foundation, 50,000 crores. We have the expansion of Make in India in the defense sector. We have opened our defense sector for the the private industries as well. So many of the joint production has been there within India nowadays. So for self-reliance, so many steps has been taken by the government of India. The funds, the 10,000 crores, the point that has been given in this budget, right? Coastal development, 25,000 crores budget. Alternative infrastructure scheme was there, 25,000 crores as well, right? So this self-reliance aspect has been there for the part of government of India. And not only this physical, but only, this digital public as well. For say UPI is there, DigiLocker, ONDC, these things are there. And India is exporting or partnering for UPI systems abroad. For say UAE, Singapore, these countries has signed an MOU with the India to have UPI as their part as well. So once we started this journey onwards 2012, when we gave the strength to the rupee by a symbol, then afterwards we started having certain the trade with the rupee. To this journey now in 2025, when we know that we are now having UPI with the different countries as well, that India's internal digital public infrastructure is being used by the different countries. Now the Indian diaspora have the soft power as well, another the power which can be used as a the soft power. But how? That around 32 billion global this Indian diaspora has been portrayed as a global asset, both in soft power and in economic terms as well. Remittance के बारे में हम लोगों ने बैठ के पढ़ लिया. How the entrepreneurship? Now understand that 11 Fortune 500 companies are led by Indian origin CEOs, and their combined market is around 6 trillion capitalization market. right? Now the critiques, that means there are certain challenges, that if the picture is so gloomy, then why we are not becoming the in the growth of engine? Reasons are, first is the implementation and the institutional capacity. We need to achieve this scale plus skill plus self-reliance depends heavily upon execution across diverse states, governance level, public sectors. That means coordination, the lack of coordination, the corruption, the red tapeism, the capacity gaps between the states. Those are the things that can come in our way. For that matter, I would say that the government of India, I quoted this thing, that a competitive federalism has been started by the government of India earlier. The Niti Aayog has been aligning with the different marks, and a mapping of the state's capacity is being even taking place nowadays. And we can do this thing in the products like ODOP, one district, one product initiative of the Uttar Pradesh. This has been done by the Rajasthan as well in their, one of the project for the agriculture development. So, you witness that different states are nowadays coming forward with their different parts. I remember that Madhya Pradesh government at this moment has initiated the world's first, this digital mapping something initiative. So, different states now are coming up with their institutional capacity. Second, inclusive growth. Although we are talking more about the macro aspect, but what about the gap that we have in India? The poverty aspect is there, unskilled labor part is there, 1% versus 99% is been there. One very major concern is that once we know that once we have the benefits, but how the benefits will be taken down to the downtrodden people, again a very major challenge. And there I would say that the government of India needs to work for sure, right? Why especially? Because onwards 2012, 2013, we do not have any poverty based data. So if the data is not there, then how may we proceed ahead with the data driven policies? Not possibility. Third, global pushback and the geopolitics. India seeks to scale exports and influence, but it might face certain retaliation in terms of the strange India-Canada relationship earlier. Now the protectionist and the visa restriction case with the USA. Certain cases with the Russia part was there when the pressure was put upon the India not to have the trade with the Russia. Skill gap credential is, for say, India need to bridge the last mile gap. That means the language, culture exposure, soft skills, adaptability is harder, right? Ensuring that our education system remain agile is the key. R&D and the innovation depth, that Anusandhan Foundation funding are promising, but fostering deep breakthrough innovation required sustained investment, risk-taking culture, good regulatory environment, IP production and incentives to retain talent is very important thing. Why to retain talent is one of the major important. I may give with one of the very example. The Ombudsman scheme was initiated by the government of India, right, in 2013, 2012 perhaps, right? The work was that you reach to the door of the people, get their banking activities done at their door only, so that the time for the people that they used to come to their bank will be saved, and the money they used to spend will be saved. But they were being given perhaps for say 10,000. I am not specific with the money, but for say they were giving the X amount of money by the government of India. But what the people used to do, after 6 or 10 months of the working, they switched to the private sector, right? And this thing has been mentioned especially by the NK Saxena committee, that you need to give incentive to retain the talent, otherwise they leave, right? So this is again a very a promising part where India needs to look into it. R&D culture, and again India with respect to spending, R&D with respect to their GDP is very low compared to countries like China, USA, Israel, France, in Germany, Brazil countries as well. So we need to look into all those gaps that were still visible before India can say that now I am the growth engine of the world at this moment. So now this is the practice question visible over your screen. Do practices. Let us know the answer in the comment section. And this is a very significant part for the the mains answer writing part, right? Do try to write this answer, and if you have any help, try to reach out to the next IS. I hope that the topics we covered today will be understood to you, and we try to provide the justice. Keep watching daily news analysis. Keep studying at the home. Thank you very much.